Hello, everybody. Hello, Tammy. First of all, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity today. I was just, going over Eventbrite, and I saw your group, and I just got excited. I thought I'll reach out, and that led to this opportunity. So I'm really excited for it today. The topic that I'm talking about today, the topic that I'm presenting is hiring temporary foreign workers. Since I'm an immigration consultant, I see, because I work with a lot of business owners as well, I see that, they are very apprehensive about hiring or going through that process of hiring temporary foreign workers. And being a business owner myself, I started my business about 6 years ago, been an entrepreneur for about 11 years now, but in the immigration industry for the last 6 years. And I realized that, in order for us to grow as business owners, it's very important to hire people because we can only achieve so much alone. Like, it's always a team that helps you grow and get to that next level, and then the next level, and then the next level. So it's very important to hire people, but then even more important is to hire the right people. Now, while we all are in different industries, some of us require people. It's easy for us to hire people from the Canadian labor market, but then some industries require us to hire people from outside Canada. And it could be various industries. It could be low skill jobs. It could be high skill jobs. It could be in the healthcare industry. It could be in the construction industry, and they all come from varied professions, and the needs of our business are different. I've lately seen, especially after COVID, there's a huge demand for people in the tourism sector, because during COVID, because tourism and hospitality sector was completely shut down, a lot of people left those jobs, and then they didn't want to come back to those jobs, and they found different alternative options. So we see that there's a huge shortage for people working in those sectors, especially in remote areas. Like, I mean, if you talk about the GTA, of course, we don't have that much of a problem. But then outside the GTA or in smaller communities, whether it's Ontario, whether it's any other province, there is a huge shortage for people working in various industries. So now the big question here is, as an employer, how do we hire a temporary foreign worker? A lot of employers think, oh, it's a complicated process. There could be compliance issues. There could be, the government could get after them, going into their books, trying to see what they're making, what they're not. And this is what I see a lot of employers worried about, because I talk to them and they're always worried about, oh, is the government going to ask me to show, open my books? Are they going to contact CRA for the way I'm doing my taxes, the way I've structured my company? So I always tell them that's not the case. They're not going to go after your books. So what they're not trying to see is not how you are doing your taxes, or how much revenue you're making, or how much profit you're making, or are you just showing, are you showing any retained earnings or not? They don't want to look into that. What they really care about is that, is there really a need for the temporary foreign worker that you're hiring? Does your business really need that person? Are you paying that person the wages that you committed the person to pay? Are the working conditions at the workplace safe for the person? And this is not just for industries, like, I'm not talking about office jobs, because there are other industries also that people hire, like for example, agriculture, right? Farm workers. So ESTC or Service Canada or Government of Canada wants to make sure that the working conditions are safe for those people who are specifically coming in low wage conditions. So that is what I was going to talk about today, and I have a presentation that I'm going to share shortly. Along the way, if you have any questions, please raise your hand and I'll be happy to answer those questions for you. Tammy, can I go ahead and share the screen?
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Let me know if you can see the screen.
Yep, we can see it. We can see the presenter view though. Yep.
This is perfect?
No. Yeah, there you go. It's perfect now.
Okay, perfect. So just a small introduction about myself. My name is Shafoli Kapur. The name of my business is TDOT Immigration Services. I am located in Toronto, Ontario. And yeah, I'm extremely passionate about this business, doing it for the last 6 years. And I personally feel that I was born to do this. I'm absolutely in love with this profession because I feel it's so rewarding, especially when I help people live their Canadian dream. It's just so overwhelming to see their reactions and responses. Now, before I start, I just want to know how many of you as business owners actually hire employees right now? Do you have people working for you, part-time, full-time, from home, like remote work, in office? Do you guys have any, like if any of you hire employees, then just raise your hand here. I see.
Or you
one
can type it
hand,
in the chat as well.
two.
You can also type it in the chat.
Or just, I think there's a function here to just raise your hand, like on Zoom. I mean, if you can do that. I see a few hands. Okay. And how many of you hire temporary foreign workers? Like, do you have permanent, like temporary foreign workers? And I'm going to explain what a temporary foreign workers is, but people who are students or on work permits. Do you have any of those people working for, or have you ever tried hiring people from outside Canada? Doesn't look like anybody. Okay. How many of you face difficulty in hiring the right talent from the Canadian labor market? Like when you're trying to, and when I say Canadian labor market, I'm only talking about Canadians and permanent residents, nobody else, because we know there are a lot of workers and students here in Canada. I'm not talking about that. Only Canadians and permanent residents. How many of you, if you've tried to hire a person, find it difficult to hire the right talent or to retain the right talent in your business?
Hi, Shafoli.
Hi.
Hi. Actually, not in my particular business, but I support my husband in his restaurant business. So we own a restaurant, and it is very difficult. Like this presentation is very relevant to me because we have been facing difficulties hiring the right talent, like including line cooks, chefs, tandoor maker, because we are a Pakistani cuisine restaurant. So we were thinking of, because we could not find people here, we were thinking of, hiring international labor. So yeah, so we really face difficulty, and this is something that is interest to us.
I agree with you. I'm sorry, I didn't get your name.
This is Annie Tarani. I'm representing my own company, Elevate, here, but I was talking about my husband. Yeah.
Hi, Annie. Thank you so much for speaking up. Yes. So I agree with you, Annie. I work with a lot of restaurant owners, and I know that of course, there are shortages, labor market shortages in other industries as well, but restaurant owners specifically also experience a huge labor market shortage. And that's primarily because of the type of job. It is a physically demanding job, like to stand all day or to serve the clients or to be in the kitchen. It's physically demanding. And we see a lot of, and I work with a lot of international students and temporary foreign workers as well. And I see that majority of the restaurant industry is being the most of the people who work in that industry are temporary foreign workers, and primarily because it's an easier job to find, and then they can quickly move out of that job. It's easy to transition out of that job as well. So I agree with you, and I do work with restaurant owners, and I see there's a huge demand for cooks, and especially ethnic cooks, who have to work with a certain cuisine to serve the clients of that particular restaurant. So yes, I'm going to come to that ultimately. But now my next question to you is, who is a temporary foreign? Like as business owners, we often ask these questions to ourselves. Who is a temporary foreign worker? Is my business eligible? Can I as a business owner hire a temporary foreign worker? What are the requirements for me, or if it's for a business owner to hire a temporary foreign worker? Are there any specific industries only that can hire a temporary foreign worker? These are the questions that I primarily see business owners thinking. And then, of course, because the information is like all over the place on the internet, they, tend to just, sort of give it up and be like, okay, we'll deal with it. Like we'll try and hire from here. We'll try and recruit from here. They go with recruitment agencies and all of that. But And my reason of being here is to actually, answer those questions for you today. And that takes me to the next slide to answer those questions. So who is a temporary foreign worker? A temporary foreign worker is an individual who is not a Canadian citizen or a permanent resident and who is legally authorized to work in Canada for a temporary period of time. Temporary foreign workers are typically recruited by Canadian employers to fill the temporary labor or skill shortages in industries where there are not enough Canadian workers available to meet the demand. Who decides that there is a shortage of these workers? The employer decides whether there is a shortage. If they're actually facing a shortage, they try to recruit, they've tried to hire people in the position, and they're not able to retain those people for various reasons. It could be wages, it could be unreliability, it could be lack of their ability to perform the duties, lack of experience, lack of education. It could be any, or even it could be their demand of a higher wage requirement, and the business is not able to afford that wage. So those could be the reasons why a business is not able to hire Canadian citizens or permanent residents. A temporary foreign worker is authorized to work in Canada through a work permit, and this is a document that is issued to them by the government of Canada, which allows them to work in Canada for a specific period of time, and it's usually for a specific employer only. And the work permit can be issued under various categories. It could be under the temporary foreign worker program, it could be under the international mobility program, or it can be a part of a free trade agreement or an international agreement. It is also important to note that while temporary foreign workers are authorized to work in Canada for a temporary period of time, they are not considered immigrants. So they're not immigrants, they're just temporary residents in Canada, and they do not have the same rights and privileges as Canadian citizens or permanent residents. Temporary foreign workers are subject to certain conditions, such as working for a specific employer. They have restrictions on the ability to bring their family members to Canada or to access certain social services and benefits. Although we've seen a lot of exemptions and ease on those requirements during COVID and post-COVID, just because the government of Canada feels that there is an acute shortage of people in various industries, especially after COVID. So they have relaxed the requirement and restrictions on various such programs, but again, there are restrictions. A temporary foreign worker may be already inside Canada on a work permit as well. So there are people who already are on work permits, on employer-specific work permits, or they could be on open work permits because their work permits are expiring, they're looking for an extension and then seeking an employer to support them or to hire them in that position that the employer is hiring in, or people even on study permits with an authorization to work on or off campus who also are looking to, join a certain industry or looking for a job because they are either not eligible for a work permit, or they're not eligible to extend, or they're not studying, they want to withdraw from their study, so they need an employer to support them. So all of those people can fall under the category of temporary foreign workers. Also, visitors in Canada are also eligible at this present moment to be hired by an employer, first get a job offer, and then ultimately be hired in that position. So since COVID, there is this provision that even visitors inside Canada can convert their status to a worker. So it's not necessary that you have to look out for that person only outside Canada. They can be inside Canada on a valid status as well. And then you as an employer can ultimately hire them, obviously go through that entire process and then hire them. What are the benefits of hiring a temporary foreign worker as an employer? The first big benefit is that we are filling the labor market shortages. Temporary foreign workers can be an excellent option for employers who are struggling to find qualified workers in their local labor market. Temporary foreign workers can bring a diverse range of skills and experience to the workplace. They can help filling labor market shortages in industries, specifically in agriculture, hospitality, and healthcare. And we all know that there is demand for these for positions in these sectors, especially healthcare. I know we probably all relate to healthcare. Cost effective. Hiring temporary foreign workers can be cost effective than hiring domestic workers in certain industries, particularly in situations where the demand for labor is high and the supply is low. So, you can pay just the right amount of wages that the government has sort of preset for a certain position, and you can just pay that much instead of having to pay much higher wages that could come in, in industries that are like in high demand. Access to specialized skills. Temporary foreign workers can bring specialized skills and knowledge to the workplace. Giving you an example of the restaurant, Annie's restaurant, she needs cooks in a specific cuisine. So it's very hard to find people to probably cook Pakistani food, or to make those tandoori rotis in that clay oven. So for her to hire a person in that specialized skill from outside Canada makes more sense. So she has access to that. If today and obviously because she's been able to hire somebody from outside Canada who can do that job, her business will obviously grow, because now she can serve the authentic cuisine to her clients who are coming to her restaurant. So she has access to that specialized skill through this program. Increased diversity. Hiring temporary foreign workers can help promote diversity and inclusion in the workplace, which can have many benefits, including increased creativity, improved problem-solving abilities, and a more inclusive workplace culture. International connections. Employers who hire temporary foreign workers can develop valuable connections with international markets and potentially expand their business into new territories. Now, if I was to talk about the temporary foreign worker program or hiring a temporary foreign worker from outside Canada, I can literally go on the entire day, and it's such a vast subject. But obviously, I'm going to restrict it because I know I just have 20 minutes to talk. But I'm just going to limit it to the important factors so that it raises your, sort of knowledge to this particular program. It gives you an insight of what you as a business owner can do. And then I'm always here for questions. If you ever want to have a discussion after this presentation, please feel free to reach out to me and maybe we can have a detailed conversation over it. And okay, of course, if something has advantages, there are disadvantages as well. What are the disadvantages of hiring a temporary foreign worker? There are, of course, legal and regulatory challenges. You're dealing with the government, so you have to go through a certain set of rules. You have to navigate through complex immigration laws and regulations. And of course, for that, you have immigration practitioners such as myself who can help you guide through the process. So you don't have to do it all. You can hire people like me who can help you with the process. Of course, language barriers. Temporary foreign workers may not speak the language of the host country fluently, which can lead to communication barriers and difficulties in the workplace. But again, the primary language that is required is English or French. Only in rare cases, we've seen that we can make another language as a primary language and bring people over. And I'll give you an example. I once did an LMIA for a grocery store that was hiring in-house butchers, halal butchers. Now, 99% of the clientele for this particular location spoke their language because it was of a certain ethnicity. So for them, it made sense that they hired somebody from their country who spoke the local language so that person could come here and then communicate with the clients, because some of those clients could not speak in English, especially elderly clients maybe. So we were able to get an approval on the exemption of the requirement of English or French, and instead made Urdu the primary language of the temporary foreign worker. But those are rare cases, and we really have to prove the need of that. So yes, language can be a barrier, but again, the requirement for this program is that the temporary foreign worker must speak some sort of English or French. Cultural differences. Temporary foreign workers may have different cultural norms and expectations than the host country's workforce, and this could lead to misunderstandings and conflicts in the workplace. Increased costs, of course, if you're going through a program, you're trying to hire people, you're trying to show recruitment efforts, and then going through that recruitment process, doing an application, and then applying, assisting the foreign worker to apply for a work permit, there are costs involved to it. And in some cases, there could be additional costs such as recruitment, relocation, and housing also, depending on the position that you're bringing. Not all positions require the employer to provide housing and relocation expenses. Only certain positions do, such as agriculture, where there is, low-skilled job involved. Farm workers need to be relocated and provided housing if they're living on farms. Difficulty in retaining workers. Temporary foreign workers are often employed on temporary basis, which can make it difficult for employers to retain them for extended periods. This can lead to a revolving door of employees, which can be disruptive and costly for businesses. I personally also feel that this could be an issue with domestic workers as well, because there's always difficulty in retaining, because people are always, moving and trying to find better opportunities. So I wouldn't really tag this as a huge disadvantage, but just because of the process involved, sometimes employer can get, sort of turned off that, oh my God, I have to do this whole process again. It's going to take additional months. But then most cases, it does work out for the employers based on my experience of working with a lot of employers. Ethical concerns. There are ethical considerations surrounding the treatment of temporary foreign workers, such as ensuring that they're paid fairly, they have access to safe working conditions, and also not exploited by their employers. How can a Canadian business, sorry?
Yeah, sorry, it's 12:31. So
Okay.
if you could just wrap up a little bit, right? Yeah.
Okay, so temporary foreign workers can be hired under different programs. It can be an LMI supported work permit. It can be an LMI exempt work permit. I have put down the streams here. There's the temporary foreign worker, the international mobility program, there's agricultural stream, there's the global talent stream, and the PNP stream. If anybody wants access to this presentation, they can always reach out to Tammy, and I'm happy to email it to them. In simple words, there are multiple ways for a Canadian employer to hire temporary foreign worker. They should just have the need and the desire to hire somebody and go through this process. Factors that determine under which program to hire, there could be the type of job, the citizen. So whether the applicant is eligible for an LMI supported work permit or an LMI exempt, it could be the type of job, the citizenship and nationality of the temporary foreign worker, the program under which the temporary foreign worker is being hired. And then there are other factors such as the location of the job, the skills and qualifications, and the duration of the job as well. What are the objectives? Basically, to address the labor market shortages, to support economic growth, to provide international opportunities, to promote international relationships, and also to ensure fair treatment of workers. This is usually considered as temporary foreign worker program was an over-abuse system in the past until 2014. But then they reformed the program in 2014 because it was realized that a lot of employers were abusing the program. They were not treating the temporary foreign workers well. They were not paying them the wages, or they were trying to, just because they didn't want to pay higher wages, they would not hire Canadians at all and just bring people from outside. So they made the reforms. And now, although the program is pretty strict, but again, it's one of the most popular programs for businesses to fill the labor market shortages.
Okay, perfect. Thanks so much, Shafoli. Sorry, I need to cut you there because it's 12:33. So we need to get on with the elevator pitches, but thank you so much for that. That's fantastic. The next step for everybody here is to book a consultation with Shafoli. And again, a lot of great things about hoarding foreign workers. They are motivated to work really hard because a lot of times they want to stay in Canada, past just doing the temporary, work period. So they can be really, really good employees to have to get your job done properly. And sometimes it's just, to be able to get that employee there. Like there's a huge shortage right now. A lot of people know, especially for those in-person businesses. But unfortunately, I know time flies when we're having fun, Shafoli. So thanks so much. Everyone meet with, you can book a meeting with Shafoli one-on-one if you do want to learn more about this for yourself or someone who has the business who's got the need for that.